If you want to achieve anything great, no matter what, you're going to get hate. So you have to learn how to deal with hate. And as a person that charges $250 a haircut, making $25K per month, I get a lot of hate for what I do, even in this barbering industry. So I make these videos because I wish I knew these things starting out. So I'm going to give you some frameworks on how I deal with hate and to stop caring about what other people think. Qualify the advice. In barbering, clients talk a lot, but sometimes the input is not as valuable. I get it. They're just trying to help. But sometimes the advice fuzzles us. And as a barber, we're naturally people of service, right? We want to give the client a good experience. So we like to please our clients, making us naturally people pleasers by nature, right? Because we service them. So what I realized with this is that if you stand for everyone, you stand for no one. We naturally want people to be happy, but that doesn't serve our ambitions and goals. Whether it's a client, whether it's your friends, your family, oftentimes they give you advice. But I used to think, why would I take advice from you when you're not where I want to be? And that hit me because I started having a filtering system for how I took information. Every time now that when someone gave me advice or gave me a lesson or told me to do something, like someone that has never ran a business, a client telling me business advice, I'll be like, it just felt funky. So now I'm like, every time someone tells you something, I'm like, okay, are they where I want to be? Do they inspire me? Are they actually qualified? Do they have the qualifications in order to give me that? Because if they don't inspire me and I don't want to be where they are, then it does not make any sense to copy the playbook from someone that doesn't have the goal. So it's example, would you take gym advice from someone that is unhealthy? Or take investing advice from people that is broke? It didn't make sense, right? You would learn from someone that's above you. So really, as blunt as it sounds, I started ignoring the opinions of losers. Because if your standards aren't where you are, and if what you say doesn't represent what you do, it makes no sense for me to copy. I love my clients. I genuinely really have a good time with them. But oftentimes, the people that we love don't give us the greatest advice sometimes. It's weird, right? I love them, but sometimes I just gotta have this mental filter now for who's worth listening to. The second one is be okay with no one cheering for you. So for me, I used to be a marathon runner. And what I learned is that what makes champions. So think of it like this, right? When you start a race, there's a start line, right? And a finish. And the thing is that at the start over here, people, they cheer you on. Right? They cheer you on, you're about to start, and everyone's like, come on, you got it. And when you take that journey along the road, that's where the hardship is. That's where it's just you and your mind. And that's where the bulk of the work is. And then when you get to the finish line, everyone starts cheering you. Oh my God, you did so great. Or that's where people are like, it's okay for coming last. That's fine. But what makes champions is in this middle area right here. Your mind going to you, telling you to quit, telling you that, oh bro, you can't make it anymore. You can't take more steps. The weird part is that middle area, the middle part of the marathon, it's quiet. It feels like no one sees you. And honestly, no one does. At the start of the start line, you're blended in. You look like everyone else. People support you because you match their expectations, right? They accept that version of you, the version that doesn't challenge them. When I learned this from marathon running, it applied into the journey of you trying to succeed in a career or whatever you're trying to do. When you start, you're blended in with everyone else. You look like everyone else, right? You're just like every single other barber in the shop. You're like the students that are in your class. You're blended in. And people support you and say that it's okay because you match their expectations. But they accept the version of you that is normal because that version of you doesn't challenge them. But the middle part of your journey, no one cheers for you. When you start, you know what? I'm going to start, I'm going to do this. I'm going to commit to this. I'm actually going to commit to this and I'm not going to quit. There's no cheers. There's no validation. There's just resistance, doubts of yourself, of uncertainty if this is going to work out. And there's that pain of really not knowing what's going to happen next and if you're going to achieve and finish the end line. And it's like a marathon. Everyone cheers at the start and finish, but the middle is just dead silent. And at the end of your goal, once you are close to your goal and you start winning, suddenly everyone starts clapping. But where were they when you were in the middle suffering? It's the same thing. And it feels so hard because you're not just battling physical challenges. You're battling these mental limiting doubts that, man, can I even do this? Self-doubt, these negative voices in your head. Dealing with hate is oftentimes starts in your head first before it starts in people's voice to you, because they're just saying their opinion. It's how you react towards it. It's how you deal with it in your head that creates the pain, creates the mental hardship, right? So like a lot of times when we have these new ideas and we, start something that we want to pursue, whether it's growing your barbering business, whether it's starting the gym, whether it's starting like a new hobby, like martial arts, or you want to do something that's out of the ordinary. That's what makes an idea valuable. Because if everyone had that idea and everyone had their same path, it wouldn't be as valuable. Like that's why this goes into my next point, which is your vision is meant for you. It's your idea, it's your path, it's your race. And not everyone is meant to see your vision, because this path that you see when you're like late at night thinking about it, that you can be more, not everyone's meant to see that, because that vision, that idea is given to you, not them. And that's what makes it rare. That's what gives it value. So that's why a vision, it's called a vision. Only you can see it. And if other people don't get it, it's not meant to be given to them, right? So how I realized this epiphany that came to me is that when I first started charging $100 a cut in a small city, 14th most dangerous city in the world. I was an Asian immigrant where no Asian is like Barbers, and we had these expectations of becoming more than Barber, like decent high achiever, right? I always had high ambitions for myself, and people would tell me, bro, I thought you'd be something more than barbering, and they just simply didn't see the vision that I saw with barbering. I loved barbering. I saw something more. When I closed my eyes, I pictured myself seeing a shop, a huge shop with packed 5 guys in there that are just hungry on the same path as me, building a team, a culture that values purpose, values something more than just cutting hair, right? Cutting hair is the platform. And that's my vision. But back then I would judge myself because I used to take it as is. But then they don't see what I see. That's why it's called a vision, right? So that idea and that like value that you get from achieving a rare vision, that's what creates originality, right? If everyone had that idea, it wouldn't make it special. So the number one threat to that vision that you have is most likely going to be the time. It's going to be your environment. It's going to be the people around you. And it hurts the most when it's the people that you love the most, because at the end of the day, they're trying to just help you out. But oftentimes you got to find that balance between understanding what you can see, right? So don't let your environment strip your idea away. The next one now is ignore what doesn't serve you because it's funny. So oftentimes, like I get comments all the time from people saying like, man, how dare you charge this much? And that's ridiculous. You're robbing them. And that would be a sense of feedback. It's information, how you react towards it. So anytime when something doesn't serve you, the best thing that I would do, this is my framework, it's the 3-part framework, is ignore it. The first one is ignore it because it costs me the least amount of time, the least energy. So like anyone that says that, yeah, bro, like, yeah, keep going, like Legend 27, like you keep commenting on my videos and you're gonna keep helping me book clients. Like it's on my, like you're actually helping my videos perform better, right? And first is ignore. The second one is agree. Bro, I agree I have chinky eyes and I have a baby face. I get it, man. I actually have a huge baby face. And then one up, right? Not only do I have a baby face, but it's worse when I wear a hat because it makes me look like I work at KFC, right? I started my KFC as a teenager, right? So what that does is that it doesn't give it power. The moment that you give information power and you take it to heart, you let that person control your mood, control like who you are. But when you laugh at it, like, right, especially when it's like absurd or it's like, this person didn't go through the years of experience of barbering that I went through. They don't understand the journey that it takes. They just see 250 haircut. They just see the win. They just see me doing it. They haven't been through the life path and experience. Therefore, they're not qualified, right? Like the first rule is that you have to qualify the advice, right? And what's crazy is that oftentimes haters, they're often more louder. For some reason, they're louder than supporters because negativity is just like more sharp, right? It's stronger than positivity. So I'll give you an example, right? Let's just say like a grandma. If I called your grandma a really nice little lady, you would be like a 6 out of 10 happy. But if I called your grandma a fat, you would be like 8 out of 10 mad. Negativity is just always a bit more sharp and stronger. So naturally, negativity is more potent. That's why, for some reason, in the comments, it's just louder than everything else. You know, like if you're getting hate on your videos at the moment, think about the last time that you commented on a video. Bro, it's probably forever you haven't commented, like, you know, months ago when you saw something. So the people that don't have time, they're the ones, the NPCs, you know, in the keyboard warriors. But people like you and me, think about the last time you spreaded hate. Not really, because you're a decent person, right? You're cool, like you're a cool guy. Like you, even though you hate something, let's say when you watch something, you're like, what the frick, stuff this. But even then, you wouldn't leave a hate comment or spread that kind of hate as well, right? Like for me, I genuinely feel sorry for the person. Because imagine the state of his life. Like I would want to help that person. That's where like people, you and me, that's where we're different. So when you think about it, right, these guys are just NPCs, the keyboard warriors. So that's why when you, like, let's say, put your work out there, or you start your project, or you start something in your life, the people that comment on it are lower quality. But higher quality clients aren't like this. They're busy. They're not commenting. They don't have the time to do that, you know? So that's why negativity is always louder. So hate is louder when you're just starting out, because your environment doesn't yet match your vision. I remember when I first went from a studio barber into a barbershop, and this is when I jumped in. I saw like 6-7 barbers around me. It was in this like shopping mall, and when I jumped in, everyone was cool, right? Like cool people. But when I started bringing out my ring light and I started like my phone, this is when in Australia where I was cutting, there was no barber charging over $50 a cut. So you can kind of see the state of that. Is that when I brought it up and I asked people like, do you record content? And no one there recorded content. And when I started pulling it out, they actually, like, I remember on the side of my ear, they actually like started laughing. Everyone started looking at me really funny. And it wasn't the look that was like, what's he doing? It was like what the heck? Or like, oh, seriously? Like, you trying to be an influencer? Or seriously? Like, oh. And, you know, it kind of got to me. I'll be quite honest. And that's when I realized that, like, that's them expecting me to become normal, right? That's them like kind of pulling me down to normal expectations, right? So honestly, in that position, I felt kind of lonely because I was the only one in there that's doing it. So there was a lot of resistance that I wanted to grow my page. I wanted to grow my own like personal presence and have my own work and own portfolio. So it felt lonely because I was the only one with this dream. So when I was in that shop, every time I would come back, I would have that like, oh man, like they're gonna say something again. But when I outgrew that shop and I started being around people that understood the importance of showing your work and recording content, I started to realize that it was just my environment. Like my environment doesn't match my vision. So think about it, like high status people don't judge you, and hate only comes from below. Like an athlete won't judge you for packing your meals. A business person won't judge you for starting your business or posting your work to get customers. Hate only comes from people that's lower than you. So that's why I speak about like this right here. When you're starting out your journey, it gets lonely because not everyone sees that vision. Not everyone, especially when you're running and you're going through the hard yards and you're taking every step, it's very lonely. And that period of time can be for a long time until that you tip the scale and you start being around community members that have the same vision as you. So I'm saying that to show that, like, if you just thug it out, if you just keep pushing, you will attract the people that are meant to be in your environment, because naturally your work, you're posting it out there, people will be drawn to you, and the right people will be drawn to you. Same way you're attracting high quality clients with your content, same way you're going to attract people around you that are doing the same thing as you, that have the same vision as you. But if I was to actually fold to them being like, yo, why are you pulling out your phone? Why are you trying to be influencer? If I folded to that pressure of pulling out my phone and not building and not doing the hard work, that would have protected their ego, because that's really all it is. That's why they're pulling you down, is because if you go above them, it ruins their ego. But people that are, that are better friends and better people around you, they don't have that ego. They want you to win. I've realized that the people that are most growth minded, they are the one that wants to see you grow the most. But at the start, you don't have that luxury. And for you to expect that luxury is bullcrap, because you haven't done the work in order to attract that type of environment anyways. So do the work so you can attract the people that are around you in order to be in that environment where they actually do support your vision. Hate is inevitable at every level. If you're getting hated on, you're doing something right. So I used to think there was this, rainbow road where when I start my journey and I be around in the right environment, it's just going to be like all sunshines and rainbows. But that doesn't happen. At every single level, whether you're starting out, whether you're already built your page, whether you're you've built a really great brand, or you're at the end of the finish line, it doesn't stop. The hate still's there. The level of intensity just changes, gets even higher. And what I realized is that at the start, because you're still desensitized towards it, it's new, right? Hate is new. And especially when people around you, telling you it hurts the most because, you've never experienced it. But as you keep leveling up, you realize that it builds higher. I realized that hate is the requirement to get to the next level, because at every single level, there will always be pushback. You'll get pushback from your parents for telling you not to pursue your dreams. You'll get pushback from your friends to just hang out on the weekends and why are you working so hard and you should take a chill. You'll get pushback at every single level. So if you're not getting hate, you're probably not doing something right. Because if you were to be liked by everyone, you're simply being the person that everyone expects you to be. And when you become that person, you're just average, because average blends in, and that's what doesn't get pushback. So if you want to achieve greatness, like all the people in this world that has achieved something and succeeded and has made an idea come to fruitioning, like let's say Elon Musk, him having an idea to make planets multi-planetary, that gives it value. The fact that he is willing to go above everyone when people said that he isn't able to do that. Look at him now. He's already gone to Mars. We've already done so much. So the higher your vision, the more hate you will get. Therefore, the more value that you want in your idea, there's an equal and opposite force towards the level of pushback that you get too. So if you're not getting hated on, you're not doing something right. So if you get hate, tell yourself, damn, this is great. This is perfect. You start expecting it. And it's funny because when you see it come along, you start realizing that it's inevitable. And it starts becoming funny because people that are unexperienced giving you hate on it, it's genuinely funny because this guy that doesn't have any experience is telling me what to do, right? A person that doesn't know how to read is telling me that I said a word wrong, right? It's very funny. So if you guys enjoyed this, leave a like, comment what you thought, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video. Check out this one, by the way.